We're looking at my personal top 10 emotional moments in Final Fantasy, so naturally, big spoilers for the series. First, what do I mean by emotional? Well, whether it's anger, sadness, or those empathetic moments where you understand what a character is feeling. These are the moments that provoke some form of emotional response. Maybe it's the anger Clive's awful mother makes me feel in number 16. Maybe it's the sad, bittersweet sacrifice at the end of Final Fantasy 13. Or maybe it's the emotions I felt alongside the sense of wonder and amazement when I finally left Midgar and the world map opened up in number 7. These are the moments that made me feel the most, the kind of ones that stick with you even after you've put the controller down. Number 10, Squall and Rinoa on the train tracks. Final Fantasy VIII is the journey of Squall, starting out as your typical quiet, moody, closed-off teenager, and we watch them grow, develop, and even fall in love. So when he carries an unconscious Rinoa across the world, determined to get her to Esther in the hopes of saving her, it hits differently. He does it alone, no big speech, no fireworks. Something about this scene really strikes a chord with me. He expresses his love the only way Squall awkwardly can to his actions. Despite being a badass, this is someone who struggles to open up. This is Squall's way of seeing everything. We'll get here his inner thoughts and how he realises he's changed. The train tracks are one of my favourite bits, and the music really amps up the emotional moment as Squall is stuck in his mind. But that's not all. We see Squall sacrifice everything to jump into space to save Rinoa, and there's another really emotional scene where you get the vocal version of the Eyes on Me song. Love it, but honestly I prefer the train track scene a lot more. Something resonates with me. It's down to earth, not overly dramatic, and it really captures Squall's awkward personality and transformation as a person. Before we look at number 9, if you love RPGs, consider subscribing to Peter Bytes or giving the video a like. I'm a bit of an indie game developer who covers RPGs, and I'm replaying the whole Final Fantasy series while ranking them. Thank you.
I've come up with a new recipe.
Number 9, 15's ending final campfire. So the whole journey of Final Fantasy 15 is a road trip to a wedding. Noctis is travelling to marry his love, Lunafreya. It starts out quite hopeful, but that future is quickly ripped away when Lunafreya is murdered. It's hard to watch. The tragedies in Final Fantasy 15 shift the entire tone of the story. What begins as a celebration slowly transforms into something more somber and tragic.
I wouldn't have made it all this way without you guys.
During the credits you get a flashback. It's just before going into the final battle with Arden. You have one last major campfire scene with your buddies, and it's quite chilling. You realise this isn't going to be a happy ending. It's a really well done scene. It feels emotionally restrained, it feels realistic. Maybe my favourite part of 15.
It's more than I can take.
In the end, Noctis reunites with Lunafreya in death. Beating the final boss doesn't feel like a victory, it feels more like Noctis fulfilling his duty and promise. But it's far too late for these two to share the world they've saved. I have issues with 15, but the ending hits hard. It's a tragedy, and the final campfire scene is exceptional. Number 8, Haurchefant. Final Fantasy 14 is a MMORPG, and that never holds it back when it comes to the storytelling and character writing.
That wheresoever you may go, my son's spirit goes with you.
In Charthus, you're trying to create and work alongside new allies. They're not very welcoming, except for one man, Haurchefant Greystone. He works alongside you, quickly proving himself to be kind, loyal, and genuinely warm-hearted. Later, when political chaos forces us to flee and become fugitives, Haurchefant is the one who risks everything.
You are more than welcome to shelter here for as long as you wish.
He welcomes us, trusts us, and secures us entry into Ishgard, allowing us to work alongside his family and continue the fight. We see his honour, passion, and kindness firsthand.
A knight lives to serve, Father, to aid those in need.
Voice acting is brilliant, and while we're chasing after Ishgard's corrupt archbishop, one of the knights of the rounds get a fatal shot in, and without hesitation, Haurchefant jumps in to protect us. The blast pierces his shield, and Haurchefant delivers one of 14's most iconic lines.
Oh, do not look at me so. A smile better suits a hero.
To say it feels bad would be an understatement, and you feel the sting twice as you deliver the news to his father.
My son.
Number 7. Dream Tidus. So through the journey of 10, we accompany Yuna on her summoner's pilgrimage, and we eventually learn that the summoner must die to perform the final summoning. It's a massive twist that completely recontextualizes everything you've experienced up until that point.
After we beat Sin, that's when you can worry about the future.
So when the party refuses to continue the cycle and finds a way to defeat Sin without sacrificing Yuna, it feels like a victory and a huge relief. The system has been broken.
What of it?
But then comes the double twist. Destroying Sin and Yevon will sever the connection to Dream Zanarkand. This basically means that Tidus, who wasn't from the world of Spira but originated from Zanarkand, will vanish from the world.
What?
So while the ending is a happy one for Spira, it's pretty tragic for the team. The hero who saved this world must disappear for Spira to move forward. It's a bittersweet victory for the people of this world, but goodbye for Tidus. It's tragic and why it ranks here. That said, some people feel the impact is slightly softened by the events of Final Fantasy X-2, which explore the aftermath of the story and bring Tidus back to life. It lessens the finality of Tidus' sacrifice here.
You serious?
Number 6. Celes Hope. Celes in Final Fantasy VI is a character who really grew on me over time. After major events in the story, Kefka rises to destroy the world. Party is scattered, the Empire has fallen, and humanity is on the brink. Celes spends the last of her days caring for her uncle Cid on a solitary island, and every day Cid is growing weaker till he eventually dies. Celes is all alone in the apocalypse. While there is technically a way to save Cid, many players experience this section with Cid dying, and that outcome makes the scene even more powerful. It reinforces the hopelessness of the world around them. The apocalypse has taken its toll on Celes, who hits breaking point and gives into complete despair. Believing there's nothing left, she throws herself from the cliffs. I consider this one of the darkest and saddest moments in Final Fantasy. Luckily, she's washed ashore and discovers a seagull carrying Locke's bandana. She finds hope that there's still life out there. She builds a raft and tries to escape Solitary Island. From that moment on, she becomes the emotional anchor of the second half of the game. She helps reunite the scattered party members and helps lead the resistance against Kefka. What makes this arc so powerful is the contrast. She goes from complete despair to becoming the symbol of hope in a broken world. One of the most powerful character transformations in the series, and a powerful relatable message to the player. Don't give up. Number 5. Aerith's Fate. This one's a classic and everyone knows about this. So there's a point in Final Fantasy VII where it genuinely makes sense for Aerith to leave the party and go ahead alone. She intends to use the white materia at the City of the Ancients to try and save the world from Meteor. Leading into the city, you're searching for Aerith, you're exploring the ruins of this long-lost civilization. There's no random encounters, just this haunting, heavy, almost sacred atmosphere. It's a calm moment that feels wrong, like the game is subtly building tension. While Cloud is distracted by Sephiroth trying to manipulate and control him, Sephiroth descends, sweeping in for the kill. It's a shocking moment, it happens so suddenly, and you get a little glimpse of Sephiroth's twisted smile while he's doing the dirty deed. Thing is, you don't just feel Aerith's death in this story cinematic moment. You've lost a permanent party member, your strongest magic user and dedicated healer. If you didn't get her level 4 limit break, you've just missed experiencing that, and you feel the consequences of losing that party member through gameplay. You really feel like you're missing something in that empty party member slot. It's like the player is missing a finger and you have to adapt. The moment this happens is really effective as well because it's so sudden. The death isn't drawn out, it's visceral, it's cold and real. Even now, decades later, the scene still hits hard. Number 4, Emet-Selch. I changed the number on this one quite a lot. So in Final Fantasy XIV, Emet-Selch is the main antagonist of the Shadowbringers expansion.
I am Emet-Selch, Ascian.
He's a brilliantly written villain, he breaks every rule, he travels with us, he helps us, he shares his story.
But this time I thought that I might instead try to see eye to eye.
He tries to make us see his point of view before inevitably trying to defeat us. We eventually learn he's Hades, one of the last remnants of his lost civilization.
I am Hades.
And this Hades rules his own version of an underworld, Amarot. Here he's recreated his homeworld, a world he loved, and is full of memories and nostalgia for his dead civilization. He's sadly stuck in the past. He's such a fantastic character that it doesn't feel like a victory when you beat this guy, it feels tragic. I felt deeply empathetic towards him.
Even now, after everything, you refuse to see reason.
I'm just going to give the very basic version of events here. Near the end of Endwalker, when the universe is on the brink, apocalypse nigh, and all hope feels lost, our last trump card is Azem's Crystal, a constellation stone we found amongst the memories of Amarot. Throughout part of the game, we use this crystal to summon aid against huge story bosses. The crystal represents summoning a raid of players to fight a raid boss. It's a really cool way of tying the story elements with the gameplay and players. But we've empowered this crystal with the goddess Hydaelyn's magic, and this time we use it to resurrect Emet-Selch.
You will not end our journey. That is our answer.
He has a few sharp words, of course, but he saves us. And when he decides to leave us again, choosing not to remain in a future that isn't his, there's something really bittersweet about it.
If you would do something for me, save our star.
This whole moment surprisingly really gets me. It's one of the most unexpected emotional payoffs in the entire series. Number 3, Vivi's Letter. At first, Final Fantasy IX seems like one of the more light-hearted and adventurous entries in the series. All the bright visuals, classic fantasy charm, and a whimsical tone. But underneath that charm are deeply melancholic themes, especially around mortality and identity. This one's different. This emotional moment is told through text, a letter. During the ending and epilogue of Final Fantasy IX, you're reading this letter. In between each part of the letter, you see how the story ends for each character. And as I was reading this letter, it dawned on me that this was written by Vivi, and that Vivi has now passed away. The revelation hits hard. There's no grand farewell, no final scene of dialogue, just a quiet, sincere goodbye left behind in written words. In the letter, Vivi reflects on his journey with the party. He talks about friendship, growth, and what life means. It feels almost like a message to the player to cherish the time you're given and make it meaningful. Vivi begins the story shy and uncertain about his existence, and when he learns that the Black Mages are artificial life forms with limited lifespans, it's devastating. Yet instead of giving in, he chooses to fight to save the world, and even to save those who mistreat him. He discovers purpose not in how long he lives, but in how he lives, which is the exact opposite of what the antagonist Kuja does. He wants to take the world with him when he discovers he has a very limited lifespan. The final words of the letter are heartbreaking. My memories will be a part of the sky. Number 2, Zack's Last Stand. In Final Fantasy VII, we eventually learn about Zack Fair, the true hero of the story who never quite appears in the original game's main events, only in flashbacks. After being captured and experimented on, an exhausted Zack is on the run from Shinra while trying to protect a Mako-poisoned Cloud. Wounded, outnumbered, and cornered, he makes his final stand against the Shinra army. In the original game, this scene is shown in a brief but devastating sequence. Zack is overwhelmed and ultimately shot down. It's shocking in its simplicity, and the final gunshots are haunting. But in Crisis Core, the moment is expanded into something far more interactive and personal. I should first explain, when it comes to Crisis Core, limit breaks work through the digital mindwave system, a real-time slot machine displayed in the corner of the screen. When the spinning reels line up with memories of Zack's allies, it triggers powerful limit break-like effects. It represents his bonds with others, the strength he gains from the connections he's formed. You play as Zack against an endless army, and as you're worn down, your slot machine-like limit break starts kicking in. But eventually the slots start glitching out and breaking one by one. Zack is dying and his memories are fading. You can feel the toll on Zack as he struggles to even bear the weight of the Buster Sword towards the end. Rather than showing us a cinematic, you're experiencing this directly through your own actions, turning the player into part of the story rather than just being a spectator. This is a legendary Final Fantasy moment, and making the player feel this moment through gameplay is what elevates this to number 2. Number 1, Cloud's Insecurity. My favourite and most emotional moment in Final Fantasy is a deeply personal one. Bear with me, in Final Fantasy VII, the story is quite complex. Cloud Strife presents himself as ex-soldier first class, the man who stood beside Sephiroth when he went mad during the events of Nibelheim. But as the story progresses, all these cracks begin to show in his words. His memories don't quite line up. Even Tifa Lockhart, who was actually at the events in Nibelheim, knows something is wrong. Cloud wasn't there, his stories don't make sense, he's an unreliable narrator, not because he's lying maliciously, but because he doesn't understand himself. Late now when Tifa and Cloud fall at the livestream, they're able to put Cloud's mind back together. He was never in Soldier, he was an insecure, scared young man who was embarrassed he failed to achieve his dreams. My favourite moment in Final Fantasy VII is when we get to see what really happened at the events in Nibelheim. The soldier Cloud thought he was actually Zack Fair. Zack is defeated by Sephiroth. Then the random Shinra trooper who accompanies Zack and Sephiroth skewers Sephiroth from behind. Catching his breath, the main theme of Final Fantasy VII begins to play as this nobody takes off his helmet. Cloud was there all along, he was the Shinra trooper, my favourite story twist in gaming. Afterward, Cloud and Zack are captured and experimented on by Kojo. Cloud is infused with Genova cells and exposed to Mako, which fractures his mind. When he reunites with Tifa later, Genova's influence latches onto her memories, blending them with his trauma and Zack's experiences, creating his false persona. But the real tragedy was that Cloud was so embarrassed, so insecure that he hid beneath the Shinra trooper's uniform. He never revealed himself or even said hello to his childhood friend Tifa, because he was ashamed that he hadn't made Soldier. When Cloud takes off his helmet, it's about identity. He had no reason to be insecure, he really was strong. He already defeated Sephiroth, he was there. He kept his promise. This is my personal favourite emotional moment right here. Cloud's entire story really resonates with me. I'm incredibly empathetic for him. It hits so hard, this isn't just a shocking moment, it redefines the entire game. My mind was blown by what this meant, and there's all this secret foreshadowing hidden across the game that you don't pick up first time through. Taking off the helmet is my favourite scene in Final Fantasy, it blows me away every time. I'm planning to look back at Final Fantasy 13 too, and possibly look back at Dragon Age Origins soon. But in the meanwhile, check out my thoughts after playing 1600 hours of Guild Wars 2, or my top 10 frogs in Final Fantasy. Have a good one.